right, welcome everyone. It is 2 p.m. in Kitsap County. It is Thursday, December 15th. Glad that you can all join us today. First, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. It is going to be cold this evening, and as such, the severe weather shelter will be open this evening. So, we want to make sure that no one who is unhoused spends the night outside if they do not want to. You can call 211 or 360-373-3000, and that will connect you with Gather Together, Grow Together, and we will provide transportation to get them to one of the four shelters. Again, the severe weather shelter is open this evening. If you're driving past someone, just give them the number, but we don't want anyone unhoused to not make it to a shelter this evening. All right. With that said, it is 2 p.m. and I have a very special guest today. We have Commissioner Ed Wolfe coming to us to have a great conversation. So I'm very excited to have him today. So let's go ahead and give him a good conduit applause. Commissioner, how are you doing?
Could not be better. Thank you for that public service weather shelter announcement. I checked earlier this morning. Our volunteers are unbelievable. Not part of the presentation today, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate you doing that. And we need more volunteers, not just for the weather shelters, but around county. But 4,000 volunteers. That's not why you had me here today. 4,000 volunteers in Kitsap County, period.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be great. Unfortunately, yesterday, Kirsten Jewell from the county was going to come on and talk about the severe weather shelter and volunteers. But unfortunately, apparently, I have COVID and I got really sick yesterday. You could probably hear it in my voice. So I had to cancel yesterday's show. So hopefully we'll do that next month and have that conversation.
Get better soon. Get better soon.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the show must go on, as they say. But you're here with us today, and if you would, how would you like me to address you? Commissioner Wolfe, Commissioner Ed, Mr. Wolfe, probably not Mr. Ed.
I'd say start with Ed.
Ed, all right, Ed. Well, would you give us a little bit of your background for those of you that may not know who you are?
Just give me a minute or so, and I can rattle this off pretty quickly. My wife and I were in Seattle, and we moved to Kitsap in '97. We bought a place over here, and we never turned back. I opened a law practice in Kitsap in '97 from Seattle. And we love our county, number one. That's number two. So we've been here for quite a long time. My background is not uncomplicated. This is my third career as a county commissioner. My last one, I might add. I'm retiring in 10 days. First career was Department of State under the Reagan and the first Bush. For a couple decades, I was the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State and a U.S. Ambassador during that period. And so that's one. And then second, practicing law and as a judge pro tem in Kitsap County for over 2 decades. And lastly, the best career I've had, not because I'm leaving, but the most enjoyable career I've had is being a Kitsap County commissioner. And I'll let it go with that. And I get emotional when I think about leaving, but it's bittersweet.
Wow, well, that's awesome. Well, and how long were you commissioner here in the county?
8 years. And I would add, just to promote myself, the second term, I was unopposed. According to the Secretary of State's office and the Auditor's office in Olympia, the first time in 84 years, a Central Kitsap commissioner has been unopposed.
Wow. So, wow. That's impressive.
Feeling proud.
You should be. So, well, let me ask you, you served for 8 years, which is a long time. So what do you think about your tenure and all the things that you wanted to get accomplished?
My tenure as a county commissioner?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been spectacular. sometimes painful because of the hardships we see around our county, not just with homelessness, but many other hardships. I hopefully can get in later to public safety and public health. I can tell you, if you're asking about my tenure, my accomplishments, I'll start out by saying the excellent relationship I've had with my colleagues. That would be Commissioner Gelder from up north and Commissioner Greedo from south. We have a balanced Board of Commissioners. I'm proud of that. I was the first Republican. By the way, I'm a moderate independent, but I was the first Republican in 10 years to be elected to this position. We work extremely well together. I'm going to miss both of them and the staff.
All right.
Last, I'd also say that I think the biggest accomplishment, and you gave me the opportunity to think about this before the podcast today, would probably be the health and safety and welfare of our community. And during the pandemic period, I'd have to say that our priority was, number one, protecting small businesses and protecting those that really needed help during the pandemic. I'm talking about the COVID lockdown specifically. I've served as the chair of the Public Health Board and other chairs during that COVID period that none of us wants to think about. The county distributed over $53 million of COVID American Relief Funds to those that truly need in our county. 53 million. It's about gone now. It's been allocated, but hopefully we won't have to do that or have the opportunity to need to do that again. So public health and safety would be my number one accomplishment. And making strides on homelessness. Is it fixed? Absolutely not. Do we have a long way to go? Miles. We have miles to go. But we're making strides. We're making strides to some of your listeners, you may know. We were involved in helping funding the Pendleton Place off of Kitsap Way, providing services for those in need. And now we're embarking on a Mile Hill structure in Port Orchard that hopefully will be open in 2023. But this is not going to stop. It's continuing. We just have to keep pushing hard to make sure, not just with the cold weather shelters, but make sure that those that need services that we provide, whether it's for children or school age or adults or older individuals, those that have certain infirmities, we're there for our county, or the whole county.
You know, in anyone's tenure, they don't get everything accomplished that they set out for. What are some things that you, and you absolutely deserve your retirement, what are some things that you kind of wish you had more time to get done, or just would like to see kind of going forward?
In terms of maybe the direction of the county, where I would like to see it go if I were not leaving in a couple weeks?
Maybe if you had any pet projects over your 8 years, it was like,
I look at the. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Go ahead.
I think you're referring to capital projects, but I don't want to sit here and list all of the projects that were important to me, but I'll highlight a few. And Central Kitsap, of course, is my bless you. You got to get better. Silverdale Way. Some of your listeners may know that we've redone Silverdale Way. That was a big one. The community just took a breath and let us go through that for a year or so. Buckland Hill Bridge was another major multi-million-dollar project with culverts and salmon not running as they should have through there. Another bringing St. Michael's with issues today. I understand that. Bringing St. Michael's on board. That was a big $500 million project. And most recently, new courthouse. I've been working hard with my colleagues for the last 2 or 3 years. We're actually building a new courthouse from our 1939, 1940 courthouse in Port Orchard. That'll be hopefully start breaking ground next year. VA clinic. Some of you are veterans. I'm a veteran. Some of you may realize or understand that our veterans had to go to Tacoma or Seattle for
Wow.
serious. I mean, it's a day trip for a lot of people, particularly going to Tacoma, Lakewood, yeah, that area. We now have one off Ridgetop. It's state of the art. It's spectacular. New VA clinic. And what else can I tell you? Lastly, we have a transit center, 8 million. My lawyers say don't ever give that number out there, but it's an $8 million transit center across from the emergency room in Silverdale. And it's going to be state of the art. It's broken ground. We're starting construction right now, and it's fully funded. So mostly proud of those. And I'd have to say one of the biggest accomplishments other than homelessness in some of the areas I talked about would be budget. That's if your listeners don't know, the primary responsibility for a board of county commissioner, legislative and executive authority for the whole county, the CEOs, but the primary responsibility is budget, not necessarily or the priority budget, public, healthy, and safety. That's the top of the rung of the ladder for county commissioners. Our budget this year we just passed for 23. This is a little shocking. It's a little over $500 million.
Wow.
For 23.
$500 million.
A little over $500 million for 23. So where does that funding come from? Principally from sales tax, principally from property tax, and other revenue sources. But $500 million, I'm proud of that. What I'm proud of is that we've balanced the budget every year. And I will say during the pandemic, our reserves were strong, and they're equally strong today in the county budget. So if anyone has any concerns about budgets and finances, it's all online. This is all transparent. You can get it off the county webpage. We're balanced and we're healthy with the budget.
You know what? Let me give you the horn for a balanced budget. That's fantastic. And that, during COVID, that's got to be a hard thing to try to maintain. So that is fantastic.
Well, thank you. I'll take that horn anytime. And also, I will tell you, just in full disclaimer, we are mandated by the state every year to balance our budget. So if we don't have the funds, we don't have the programs. We don't hire the people. We don't do the things that some of us would like to do. So it's balanced and healthy.
So let me ask you, Ed. For my audience and even me myself, I never was interested in politics as a youth or even as a young man. I'm just coming into an interest now in my very late 40s, and so understanding the difference between city government and county government. This is very illuminating, right? All the different projects, which is a huge deal. And so we see these things be erected, right? The highway projects, the hospital projects. These are big, but we don't think, or at least speaking for myself, I don't think and make that tie-in that it's the county commissioners that are making that happen. So, I appreciate you sharing that with us. What else does the
Can I throw in one anecdote there, Mark? Just one anecdote, and please. That is because I'm quite a bit older than you are. I go back to the 70s. When I was a staff person for a member of Congress. And I remember a particular congressman who's now not with us, Congressman Tip O'Neill from Massachusetts. Tip O'Neill said in the 70s, all politics is local. It does not get any more, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, doesn't matter. It does not get any, from experience, I'm saying, it does not get any more local than roads, sewers, storms, not being able to flush your toilets or having not picking up your garbage. It does not get any more local than local government at the level we're talking about.
Wow. And I definitely agree with that for sure. That's really important. Any other things that you can think of aside from those huge things you've already listed that kind of comes through the commissioner's office that we might not know?
We're just talking about, I've just talked about my projects that are for the whole county, of course. Each commissioner is elected in the primary, just for information, by his or her district only, minus Central Kitsap. I mentioned the other two commissioners. During the general election, everybody votes for county commissioners. So these projects that I talked about in Buckland Hill Bridge and things that are happening in Central Kitsap, similar type of projects have occurred, are occurring in South Kitsap and in North Kitsap. So we all work together to make sure each of our communities, I say North, South, and Central, they get what they deserve.
So is that kind of how it works? Like the three of you, get together and it's like, okay, my area needs this. How can we make this happen? My area needs that.
Well, sometimes we have to lobby for that with the other commissioners, but
Gotcha.
but we all work together for our entire community, not just for our respective districts.
and while balancing the budget, right? That's huge.
Yeah, we'll lose our jobs. It'd be recall if we couldn't balance the budget. That wasn't meant to be a joke, but it's we have to balance the budget.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's got to be difficult, right? Because your constituents all want different things, and so you're trying to, make them happy, and at the same time, balance the budget and get everything that you can done. So that would seem to be very challenging. And then you've done it for 8 years.
Yeah,
what a
true.
big deal. So, as you are going into retirement and there's a new commissioner coming in, what do you hope to see kind of carry on? Any words of wisdom for the new commissioner coming in?
Yeah, in fact, I'll be meeting with her on Monday. She's coming in for her briefings to get onboarded, as I've learned is county language, getting onboarded. She has a challenge, as we all have had challenges and continue having challenges. I would want her to know, and I will tell her Monday. I don't know if she's watching this or not, but I don't want to spoil my meeting with her on Monday. I would tell her that this job that I'm going to miss greatly, and mostly the people, it's 24/7. I don't say that just to throw out words to you or your listeners. It's 24/7. It's on weekends. You got to be ready to jump into it, and I'll certainly give her that advice. Number one. Number two, the two critical elements for me, if I was to continue, and of course not doing that, would be public safety and public health. We all know in the county what's going on with St. Michael's. We all understand that there are issues with the emergency room. We understand that there are different issues across the nation, not just in Kitsap County, but right now, rubber meets the road. All politics is local. It's Kitsap County that I'm talking about. We need to do something, and I think my colleagues, particularly Commissioner Gelder, will take the lead on a public hospital district of some sort to make sure we've got we need ample resources, and we don't have them right now. Hospital, emergency room. So I think that'll be a major play in the new year as it's continuing today. That's number one. Number two, I'm a law and order guy, and everybody needs to be protected equally, and certainly with equity. But I feel strongly that we've hamstrung, and I don't want to be political on this, we've hamstrung our law enforcement officials, not just like Kitsap County Sheriff's Office. They do a remarkable job, just like the other in Bremerton and Port Orchard and Paulsbo and, of course, Baber John. The law enforcement, they're the best of the best, and I think the county is the best of the best in terms of our law enforcement. We've got to give them the ability and the authority to stop crime. You're going to get me off on a soapbox here. To stop
That's
crime.
okay.
To stop crime and to have the ability to do that. And right now, in my opinion, that's not happening.
So tell me, Ed, how would you fix that? How would you kind of unshackle to fix that?
Well, without being facetious, if I were 20 years younger, I'd go to the state legislature and run the state legislature, but that's not in my cards because these laws were passed in Olympia, not ordinances in the county. These were state laws that were passed that, in my opinion, have completely hamstrung protection for our community because of personal liability for our officers that are out on the street.
Well, and
Just,
I
yeah,
appreciate you talking about it because again, my audience and myself wouldn't know how to lobby or advocate for change, right? So who do we go to? Do we go to our city council members? Do we go to the mayor? Do we go to county commissioners? And you're saying that this happens at the state. So talking through this is really empowering for people to know the pathways to advocate for what they want.
yeah,
And I know that, safety is a big concern for a lot of citizens here in the
yeah,
county.
yeah.
So
Olympia is my answer. Olympia is my
Olympia.
answer.
Okay, so go to Olympia, and that, like I said, I think that's really helpful because so many of us don't understand how our democracy is set up and
Yeah.
how it works and
And
how to
it's
get
not my
engaged.
place to pass the buck and shove this someone else's way, but these are laws that were enacted, RCWs in Olympia, that have hamstrung, restricted our law enforcement's authority to do what they do well if they have the ability to do it. Sorry about that. I kind of got off on a bandstand there.
No, this is good. And you are the commissioner. You're going out in retirement. You get to say what you want to say, right?
Retirement makes me feel old. I'm moving on to, only because I am. It's semi-retirement, maybe.
Well, let's talk about that. What is next for you?
Well, I'm not riding into the sunset. I'm not riding into the sunset. I mentioned to you earlier, made him in privately, that we've got a new grandbaby coming next week, a second one. So that's a big thing with our kids living on the other coast. I will be resuming pro tem judging in Kitsap County. I did that for 6 or 7 years when I had my law practice before being county commissioner. So I will be resuming. They've asked me the court has asked me to come back, and I'm going through training right now to get up to speed on the new laws. And so I'll be a pro tem. It's like a substitute teacher, but it's a substitute judge.
So what will you
And
preside over?
what's that?
What will you preside over?
This will be the district court, and the district court in Kitsap County has jurisdiction over misdemeanors, gross misdemeanors, a year in jail maximum time, and $5,000 fine. DUIs, for example, car violations and license violations, and many other things that are not superior court at that high level of crime. So district court.
Nice. So will that be Bremerton, Port Orchard?
It'll be
So
Kitsap County District Court in Port Orchard.
Kitsap County.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Wow,
Yeah.
congratulations. So yeah, you're definitely not retiring. Are you going to take time off, or are you going to transition right into it in 23?
I'm going to take. No, I'm not taking any time off. It's not my DNA. But right now, my time off will be get back to see a new grandkid on the other coast, and then see how it plays out.
Nice. I like it. And
Feeling pumped up. Feeling it's bittersweet, but I'm feeling pumped up about the next phase for my wife Wendy in my life. Yeah.
let me ask: are there term limits for commissioner?
No, not that I'm aware of. No,
Oh,
I don't believe so. No, they're not. No, there couldn't be. No, I don't believe so.
Okay, man, I can pick your brain and ask you a ton of questions on that. What would it take for someone to be a commissioner? Like, let's say I wanted to run for commissioner one day. What would I need to do?
Are you making an announcement here today?
No, not at all.
I think it would take someone that recognizes it's not a 9-to-5 job. No, there's no. You don't have to be a lawyer. You don't have to be an engineer, scientist. Someone that cares for his or her community, someone that has passion, and someone that recognizes what I said earlier. It's 24/7. I exaggerate 24/7, but it's not far off.
And what kind of quality?
It's been the best job I've ever had in my 3 careers.
Wow, I mean, that's saying
rewarding.
a lot.
Most rewarding, I would say. Yeah.
That's saying a lot. What kind of qualities would you be looking for?
Someone with common sense, someone that understands public policy, and you don't have to have a bachelor's or a master's or PhD to understand public policy. Someone's passionate about an issue, whether
Mhm.
it's homelessness, whether it's public safety, whether it's public health, with that passion, that to me would be the most important ingredient to want to serve, because it's service. It's service to the public.
I smile when people say common sense because the saying is, if common sense was common, everyone would have it.
And also, at least in my experience, not just in this job and other other positions, you got to compromise. I've
Mm.
never gotten a full loaf of everything I've wanted. I had the opportunity to negotiate a number of treaties that we didn't go into. I negotiated 40 treaties, and the president signed quite a few of them. I didn't get half of what I wanted. Most of those treaties with foreign countries, but
Wow.
if you get a little piece of pie, and it helps the people, whoever those people are at the time, then to me that's success.
I think that's a really powerful thing. You can't have the whole loaf. Oftentimes, people look at the situation as a zero-sum game, and if I can't have it all, then, I don't want any of it. And that's not how life works. Uh,
Yeah.
I think if more
I
of us
want it all, I just never get it. So
yeah, so try for it, but understand you're
yeah,
probably not going to get everything you
right,
want.
yeah,
But I think if both parties get a lot of what they want, then both people win ultimately in the end. It could be a win-win and not a win-lose type
you
scenario.
bet, you bet, you bet.
I love it. I love it. So if you were to do this over again, would you do anything different?
Um, that's a tough question. No, I'm satisfied with what we've done together as a community, or with my colleagues. I'm more than satisfied with what we've done together and the success and progress. Um, no, I'm not sure. I am who I am. My DNA is whatever it is, and no, I wouldn't do anything differently than the last 8 years that I've been involved in.
Man, I think that's an awesome thing uh to feel, like, hey, you know what? I did what I did, the best that I could, and I could sleep well at night. I think that's if everyone could say that, that is what a rewarding career. And you're articulating that, right? This is the most rewarding career that I've had, and the three that I've had, and yeah, I think that's definitely congruent with what you were saying. So that's fantastic. I love it. Well, it sounds like we're going to continue to see you in the community. You're not going away. Uh,
Nope, nope.
I see you at different events, and man, I definitely want to thank you for your service, your 8 years. I know it could be a very thankless position, where you have folks that are coming at you because you never do enough. You never do it how they want you to do it, but you're doing the best you can. So I just want to say, I appreciate you getting a chance to know you in the capacity that I have. Any final words for the folks on the conduit listening?
My only final words: I've given you enough substance. I've talked to you enough. I would just ask people to be safe, and I'm not going to say wear a mask. I'm not going to say don't go to parties. Just be smart during Christmas, and be healthy, please, and get better
All right.
yourself. By the way,
Well, thank you. I like to feel like I'm pretty safe, but and I've been well for so long. It's like it hit me 10 days before Christmas. Unbelievable.
I
But
know.
it is what it is. What are you gonna do? But everyone that is out there listening today, this is our interview with Commissioner Ed Wolfe, who has served as our commissioner for the last 8 years. He is now going to transition into pro tem judge for Kitsap County. So you will continue to see Ed as he's not even taking a break. He's continuing to.
I'm sure most people don't want to see me in court, Marlon.
Well, I mean, you'll probably be in other places too, right? I mean,
Absolutely,
you're,
absolutely.
you're an
Yeah.
advocate for a lot of things. Yes, you don't want to see him in court, so
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Probably,
And I would just
probably,
close by saying, if I can throw this out, and I
sure.
mean this with the most sincerity I can project, I love my community. My wife loves this community. We're not going anywhere. We'll still be involved because of the people, most primarily. And that's my closing statement.
I love it. Well, again, we want to thank you not only for coming on to the conduit, but again, like I said, for your last 8 years of service. And we will see you out there. Enjoy the holidays.
Thank you.
All right. So for Commissioner Ed Wolfe, I am Marwan Cameron. This is the conduit. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Marwan.